All right, thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate it. Obviously, waking up this morning, sports was kind of the last thing on my mind when I saw the news in Las Vegas. So, thoughts and prayers to everybody out there. Just a horrific situation, and kind of put everything into perspective when it comes to talking about basketball. So, anyway, excited to get started with the season. First day of practice was on Friday. All of our guys came back in really good shape, hungry, healthy, which knock on wood. We had everybody in uniform, fully cleared to practice, which is always a good thing. And there's a good attitude amongst our team. We're looking forward to these next 42 days to kind of put all the pieces together. A lot of times in the off season, you're really spending time on skill development and individual development with each of the guys. And now when you get to this time of the year, it's about putting the pieces together and becoming the best team we can become. So, I know we have lofty goals as a team, a lot of veterans returning. We have really good leadership, a core group of guys that have been a part of winning and have tasted what winning is about and postseason play. And hopefully we'll use that to want even more this year. I mean, that's going to be my main thing with this team is, how hungry are they going to be to want more? And judging from how they've been in practice so far in the summer, I think we're off to a great start. So excited to see what we can make of it. So for that, I'll be open to questions.
Hi, Coach.
Hey.
Lofty goals. Is it out of the realm to say a lofty goal would be after last season to win the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think there's some steps. Look, I mean, I've always been one when you play and you coach. If you don't think about winning the NCAA tournament, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. I mean, that being said, I think there's steps along the way and other goals that we need to knock out. Before we get to hopefully have the opportunity to make that a reality. For us, we've been here 4 years now. We've gotten better with each year. We haven't won a championship, and there's various ways you can win a championship. It's going to start for us early in the season. We're in a Thanksgiving tournament. We're at the Hall of Fame Classic in Connecticut. And can we win that tournament? I mean, to me, that's got to be a goal. And, then you have an opportunity. Everybody's in a conference. You have an opportunity to be a champion in your league. And, can we do enough during our regular season to put ourselves in a position to have a chance to win a championship? I think that's something that the guys are looking towards, and it's a long way off. I mean, I always talk about not skipping steps and fast forwarding to different parts of the season. I think it's very important in basketball now, especially. You have to take advantage of the early part of your schedule, and you have to play well. And if you look this year, especially in teams in our league, it's going to be the most condensed, intense early season schedule that any of us have ever had. I mean, when you add now 2 conference games the first weekend in December on the heels of playing your ACC game, you're talking about a week where you're going to play an ACC game, in our case on the road, and then play in Illinois at home and an at Purdue, all within a 6-day stretch. That's a heck of a challenge in the first week of December, to play teams that we're going to be playing in the early season that are good programs, good winning traditions. Like you have to come out if you want to be relevant late. You have to play well early, and it's something we've tried to always embrace, and I think it's going to be really important, which is why this preseason training camp here, these next 30 days, is very important so we can get to November 9th and really be ready to play at a high level.
Chris, what was your take on the scandal that everyone was talking about last week, and is there a chance that the game can get cleaned up?
Well, obviously it's unfortunate. I mean, I've been now a part of college basketball for a long time. 13 years at Duke, a couple years at Seton Hall, 4 years here now. You're talking about upwards of 20 years in this, and you never like to see any of that happen. Not only to the game, but also to individuals. I mean, I think sometimes it gets lost that we're all people. We have families, and it's unfortunate. Of course, I would like it to be cleaned up. I mean, I feel lucky. I've always chosen to be in situations where things were done the right way, and we abide by that here. I mean, we try to recruit the right guys for here, and we do things the right way, and we're fully compliant. So for me, I think I'm a little bit naive because I choose not to be in that world. Now, you always hear rumors and innuendo, but to see them now really trying to crack down and get it right, I'm all for that. I mean, I would love for it to be a situation where everything was done on the up and up, and everybody was compliant and tried to do things the right way, and hopefully we'll get to that point. And none of us really know where this is all headed, but hopefully at the end of the day, we always talk about a better destination. So hopefully when it's all said and done, we can get our product of college basketball in a good place and moving in the right direction.
Coach, with Sanjay gone, you got to fill that fifth starter role. Who are the candidates, and how are you going to go about deciding who takes that fifth spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's up for grabs. I want a lot of guys to kind of have a starter's mentality. So depending on who we start, who we bring off the bench, how we manage our lineups. I mean, for 4 years, he kind of was the guy at that spot, and he was our glue guy. And I don't think anybody on our team is going to replicate kind of what he did. I think what guys that do play can bring their skill sets. I think obviously you return a guy like Gavin Skelly, who's a senior now, who's played a lot as an energy guy, an X factor. Now, can he become kind of a key guy who's counted on every night? I think he can, but that's going to be a jump for him. The return of Aaron Falzone, I think is going to be huge to our team. Not having his shooting ability, his ability to put the ball in the back. When he's on the court, somebody's got to be tagging him at all times. I mean, so it opens up spacing, gives you another kind of offensive weapon out there. I think allows us to do some more creative things, maybe on the offensive end. The return of Rapolis Ivanauskas, who was out last year, I think he'll have an opportunity to give us minutes on the front line. Do we take a look at the two big guys a little bit together? I mean, I feel like Barrett's had a really good offseason, and can you find ways to put Derek and Barrett out there a little bit to go bigger at times? And then also, do you go small? Do you slide a guy like Vic or Anthony Gaines and play 4 perimeter guys with a big guy? I think we have more options. I think our depth is in a good spot, health willing, and I'm looking forward to this next month to keep I tell the players all the time, put me in a position to make tough decisions. I want them to all play well and put me and my staff in a position to figure out, okay, who's going to be the best group to start, and then how do we want to bring guys off the bench and make it as potent as we can.
Last year, Bryant talked about how the conversation you had with him when you were recruiting him was to do something for the first time. How much has that conversation changed now with recruits based on what you did last year?
Yeah, I mean, the first time of going to the tournament is put to bed, which I hope is a great thing. I mean, I know certainly to not have to answer that question all the time is going to be a nice thing for me and the players. But I still feel like there's tons of firsts. There's a lot of firsts still out there for us. I talked about it. First Big Ten championship, winning tournaments in November. Different accomplishments, Big Ten tournaments. Accomplishments in the NCAA. So I feel like this senior class still feels like they have a lot to prove. They have one last chance. To kind of cement their legacy is there. They know that. What they've accomplished has been incredible and something that everybody's gotten excited about, not only here, but it was a national story, which is, I think, a big reason why they came here. And, I think now for us going forward, it's about chasing higher things. And, I said all along that the NCAA tournament was never my end game. It was a big step and something that we needed to do to kind of get to the next level. But the end game for us is to be a nationally relevant program year in and year out. And we're still not there. We got a ways to go to get there. And you got to string back-to-back seasons to get that going. And, I feel like the good thing about it is I think young guys across the country are seeing that this is a place where you can have it all now. You know, you can go to a great city, go to a great school, play high-level basketball, get a great degree, and, you know, put yourself in a position to achieve on the court as well. So I am noticing a difference in, you know, the response, you know, when we make those calls and talk to those coaches around the country, that when they hear Northwestern now, it's a different narrative. And I think it's exciting for us to build on that and try to continue to push forward with our program.
From my understanding, you guys have taken a couple trips to Allstate Arena as dry runs just to kind of get a feel for what things have been like. What have you gleaned from those visits? Has anything surprised you, stuck out?
Yeah, we haven't gone as a team. We've gone as a staff. You know, we've kind of just from a logistic thing, you know, how to get out there, you know, what locker room space, you know, dry run of game operations, things like that. We're planning on making a handful of trips out there during this 30 days. You know, if we can get 5 or 6 practices out there, we're going to try to do that, you know, based upon their availability and us getting out there just to get a feel. We're going to have an event, you know, in October, an inter-squad scrimmage to kind of have a dry run for the players on, you know, what it's like on a game day, you know, and how I think some of that's going to be up in the air. I've tried to pick the brain, you know, knowing the DePaul staff, you know, this summer, seeing those guys, kind of talking to them about how they handled it. You know, what did they do for weekday games? How did they do weekend games? What would they do different? What did they like? So, you know, I think our people have tried to lean on them a little bit too, since that's been their home, you know, for a long time. And like anything, though, I mean, we have to make it our home. We have no other choice. There's no excuses. That's our home gym this year. Let's make it our home court. Let's have it be the best home court it can be. I'm hoping people will still come out and support this team. You know, not only students, but, you know, we'll do things for the students with shuttles and different things to get them out to the games, but also season ticket holders and casual fans. You know, I've said it all along since day one. If you play well and you win, you know, it's like the old Field of Dreams. You know, if you know, they will come. You know, if you build it, they will come. Right? I mean, so I've said all along, you can do a lot of gimmicks, you can do a lot of promotions, and our people do all those things. But at the end of the day, if we're a good team and we're playing well and we're winning ball games and we're a fun team to watch, I believe that'll become a great environment. And that's what we did with Welsh Ryan last year. I mean, you guys saw at the end of the year, those crowds were as good as anything I've seen anywhere in the country. And it was because we had a good team that played well and were fun to watch. And that we got to do our part, you know, with that as well this year with the new arena.
With Vic Law, you've talked in the past about his defensive ability and success. Going into his junior year now, what's the biggest step that he needs to take forwards for this team this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Vic is a huge key for us. There's no question. You know, I think I'd like to see him kind of, you know, expand his offensive game. I thought he was a good shooter for us, you know, when he was open. I thought for him, you know, it was a really good stretch when Scotty was out. It kind of it put a little bit more, and it was a little bit tougher for him. You know, when Scotty missed those games, he got a little bit more attention. You know, people put, you know, more focus on trying to stop him, and you saw his numbers got affected by that a little bit during that stretch. I thought he really responded to that at the end. I think he's had a good summer. I do think I've said all along, even when we got him, you know, he's the kind of guy to me that just affects the game in a lot of when he's playing well, he's a stat sheet stuffer. You know, he's scoring a little bit. He can rebound at a high level. He can be an assist guy. He can block shots. He can get steals. He can be a shutdown defender. You know, I think he can be a guy who should be in the mix for Defensive Player of the Year in this league. You know, the way we used him last year, he guarded point guards, wings. He's a jack of all trades type of player, and I think just with added experience and confidence, hopefully he can just do that at another level. I know he has aspirations. He'd like to be an all-league player. You know, I think he has confidence in his ability. He believes he's an impact guy, and you know, I think he wants to go out there and put together a kind of season to put himself in the mentions like some of the other players in the conference.
Between the condensed schedule and playing at All-State and practicing at Blomquist, how strange is all this stuff? And two, Blomquist, I mean, what do you think of it? Do the guys like it because it's more convenient for them, or?
Yeah.
I mean, what's it like there?
You guys, when you guys see it, it's actually pretty good. You know, I can't thank the administration enough. You know, going into this, we knew we were getting a new arena and practice center and all these things, and super exciting. But you really don't know, what's that temporary going to be like? Are we going to be in trailers? Are we going to be having to go practice in at high schools and junior? Like where is everything? And credit our administration. President Shapiro, Dr. Phillips, the whole staff. I mean, you guys will see. I mean, they've done a fantastic job with Blomquist. We've renovated that whole space. We've put a brand new floor in there. We've branded it to make it our own. Volleyball. We're sharing it with volleyball. They've really enjoyed being in there. It's right on campus, so it's really easy for our guys to get there. There's a locker room in there, mini little weight room. So from a practice perspective, you guys that go over today, you'll see. I mean, it's fine. I mean, we have what we need. The main thing is just going to be the logistics with games. I think that's going to be the biggest adjustment, is having to bus out to games, not having it right here on campus and just getting used to that. From everything else, how we're feeding the kids, how the practices are set up, the locker rooms, everything, all those other things are in a good space. We got a nice office space we're using in the interim as a coaching staff right on campus. So I'm really pleased with the setup in that regard and really thankful, because it could have been a lot worse. I mean, we could really be scrambling, and then on a day-to-day basis, you're trying to figure out, how to stay focused. And, I'm really pleased with how our setup is, and I think you guys will feel the same once you get over there today and see the guys.
You mentioned earlier that you're excited for Rapp to come back. What have you seen from him over the summer? How are you expecting him to fit into the lineup this year?
Yeah, well, the main thing is it's never easy when you miss. I think him and Aaron both. I think there's going to be, especially early in the season, when you don't play a whole season. I call it game rust. You see it sometimes too with a kid who's transferred and sit out. That first part of the season, you got to get your game legs back underneath you. Now, from a skill set standpoint, from a physicality, I mean, Rappless has done a great job with his body. He's got great size. He's 6'9". He's strong. He's got a great, he's a nose for the ball. He plays hard. He gives us another physical presence on the front line with some added skill. So, his whole thing is he's still just a freshman. And, when you come onto a team now that has a number of veterans, it's a good thing. But, with two freshmen pretty much in Rappless and Anthony Gaines, who are both very talented players, they're trying to catch up to the experience that the older guys bring. But Rappless is going to be in position to have his opportunities, and I'm excited to see what he can bring, because I think he's a little bit different than the other guys we have on the front line.
Coach, obviously Scotty made a huge jump last season. What do you think his progress has been this offseason? What do you think his role it will be for you guys this year?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think coming into last year, it was the big unknown, right? It was who was going to replace Trey. What we had with Trey and his production and the way we were leaning on Trey for those couple years before that. And I thought Scotty really embraced that. He took it personal. He wanted to be that guy, and he became it. I mean, his consistency last year was very impressive up until when he got sick. And even still missing those games, he's rewarded by an all-conference selection. He's a third-team all-league guy, which means, one of the top 15 players in the conference. I mean, that's a heck of recognition, in a league like ours with 14 teams and a lot of good players. So there's no question. I mean, for us to be good, we need Scotty to be an all-league guy, and that we need him to be there every night. We need him to be a consistent force for us. I think he's got a potential, again, to be our leading scorer. He's got a great skill set. He can shoot. He can drive the ball. He's good in the open floor. He's big enough to post a little bit. He got great experience this summer. He was able to get to the Under Armour All-American camp and play against a lot of elite college players and really show, see where he was against some of the top guys in the country. I thought that gave him confidence. And I've just noticed as a senior now, his maturity. He's really embraced what it takes to be a guy that's counted on. And, we expect him to have a big season. And I know it's something he's hungry for as well.
Earlier you talked about All-State Arena, getting the fans, getting the students out there. I know that's not your specialization, your forte, the logistics of it, but what do you know about what kind of accommodations will be to try to recreate the atmosphere out there and to help ease the commute to all.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do everything we can possible with students, with shuttles, with ways we can help them get to and from the games. In terms of the staff at Allstate has been fantastic. We've met with them several times. They've asked us what we need. Vice versa. We've in terms of locker rooms, in terms of trying to brand Allstate when it comes time to us playing there. I think you guys are going to feel it's gonna be a Northwestern, setting. We're going to try to get as much purple in there, and with the people that work and the staffing, and it's been a good partnership so far. The staff over there has been terrific, and they want to try to make it as good as it can be for us. And now it's about just living and learning. We got to get over there, we got to practice, and got to kind of see what it's like, and then have our inter squad game and in the early season games. You don't really have time to mess around though. You got to play well and win early. So by the time we get to November 9th, hopefully we're more comfortable. That's why it's important for me to try to get out there and practice there. I want the guys to get used to the surroundings. We did play there 2 years ago. A number of the veteran guys played a game in there. They kind of remember what it's like. Hopefully we'll shoot a little bit better than we did that day. But it's going to take us getting over there and just getting a feel for it. But I couldn't be more impressed with the staff over at Allstate and what our people have done, our support staff, and to just trying to make the transition as easy as possible for us as a team.
Isaiah, obviously very talented athletically, but sort of raw last year, had some efficiency issues. How important has it been for him to have this full off season of practice and getting more used to the team and to college level basketball?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, he's worked hard. There's no question. You saw with Isaiah last year, his explosiveness can really, he helped us win some games, where we were struggling to score. We brought him off the bench. He gave us double figure points and kind of gave us a shot in the arm. I think with him, like you saw, the numbers will show it. Efficiency wise, he's got to improve, better shot selection, kind of knowing when to pick and choose, when to run the offense versus when to be aggressive. I don't want to rob him of his aggressive nature, but that being said, to kind of incorporate that into the way we're doing things as a team, and to help him be just a little more efficient as a sophomore. Anytime you're a freshman, things are going fast, and I think things have slowed down for him a little bit. I think he's got a better feel of what he needs to do, and how he can help us where he doesn't lose that aggressive nature, but also picks and chooses spots a little bit better. All right, thanks everyone. All right, thank you guys.